Hey, good morning. I'm Catherine Perry. I'll be your host for the Daily One Command. This week, we are focusing on increasing your intention. And I love talking about, uh, did I say intention? Pardon me. We're going to have to restart this. But this week, we are focusing on increasing your intuition. And I love talking about intuition because I grew up in a family that we accepted it, we loved playing with it, and it's become a lifelong tool. But also, it's turned into the area that I wind up really serving people at the deepest level so that they can learn how to connect to their deepest, truest, wisest part of themselves and express that. And it's not just a tool for self reflection and self understanding, which it is, but it's so that we can have a new conversation with ourselves about the world, about our potential, about our relationships. And we are not limited by what we can only see, hear, and feel with our normal senses. So I'm excited about this week. Yesterday, we just kind of went into, hey, how can we accept the idea that we have the power to access our intuition? And what came up was a lot of people who follow my channel are intuitives. I'm very intuitive. I've actually worked as a professional psychic. And women in particular have said, I'm really intuitive for other people, but when it comes to me, I worry, I doubt, I block that information. And that's that fear mindset. And that's because we have not been trained how to serve ourselves and our own interest. We've been set up to protect ourselves, to defend ourselves, to be at service to other people, to be pleasing to other people, to be good enough for other people. But we really have not learned how to connect to us for us. This is a pretty radical idea if you think about it. And so this is part of what we're going to be touching on is for everyone who knows that they have a gift. I can't think of a single person in my life who never had an intuitive, you know, some type of psychic experience. I do not know a single person who hasn't. Even the most rational, logical person you'll ever meet will go, oh, yeah, one time there was this weird thing that happened. I'm reminded of someone in one of my classes that he was a drag along, and he'd agreed to come with his wife because she was on this journey and wanted him to be a part of it and thought it might be of interest to him. And I was talking about intuition. He said, yeah, I'm really not intuitive. And I said, it's interesting because when I think about you, I see you with a stack of folders. You're going through the folders. I said, you have like a very much an accountant's mind, but as you're going through information, it seems like one folder catches your attention, something grabs your attention, and it kind of lights up and you feel drawn to it. And he said, I'm an accountant. I didn't know that. I'm an accountant, and that's exactly how it happens. It's because very often we have this idea of what it means to be intuitive or how it shows up. And so we've got to prepare our mind for that. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. First, I want to remind everybody that particularly if you're watching on Facebook or on Instagram, if you want to leave a comment during the lives, be sure and like the StreamYard app. And it's right at the bottom of the description. And all you got to do is like it, and then I'll be able to see your comments. All right, let's go for this. So, Holiday's command session is for increasing your intuition. As I said, it's Monday through Friday. This week, there is no commanding wealth. I have a schedule conflict that there's no way to work around it. So we're just doing this 4 days. And the lens that we're going to be looking through, this is an old fashioned. Now, I'm older than probably a lot of you. But in my mind's eye, if I think of a laboratory, this would be this. In fact, I'm almost, when I see the word laboratory, I almost say it like Vincent Price, and in one of his old scary movies, it's like, my laboratory, come to my laboratory. And so uh, this is the lens that we're looking through today. Intuition does not come to an unprepared mind. Albert Einstein. So why would I be using this image rather than a beautiful, sleek, modern laboratory? Well, this, if you look at this, this is like an old fashioned one. There's scales. I don't know what they did in this particular one. It's just a workspace, right? And there's all these shelves, and there's all the tinctures and potions, and then they have all these drawers, and we don't quite know what's in everything. But in this space is everything that you might need. And even there's a shelf over in the distance, and then there's a closet over there. Why am I showing you this image? I don't know if you've ever heard of Jose Silva and Silva Mind Control. Jose Silva was an extraordinary person who he had grown up very poor and literally had to start supporting his family at age 6. The only way that he could do that is he worked for a lot of shop owners, and one guy repaired TVs and radios. And Silva wanted to do that, and he couldn't afford as a teenager to take the class. So the shop owner said, listen, I'll buy it, but you have to take all the training for me and pass the test. And if you do, I'll let you work for me. So this is back in the days of the old dial TVs and radios, and that's what he did. And so he was able to support his mom and dad, and eventually he was able to get married and had his own kids, and he wanted his kids to have every advantage. And he taught his kids, was doing flashcards, teaching them. He was really on the homework thing. He wanted them to learn because he didn't get to go to school. And at the time, this would be the late 50s. This is at the time that in Russia, there was a lot of experiments going on, and we were getting reports about supernatural abilities and self-hypnosis and relaxation. And so he started applying these things for his kids, and he'd show the flashcard like doing math homework. And one night his daughter said, Dad, the answer's 17. And then the next card is going to be 27. And he's like, oh, wait, let me shuffle these up. Maybe I've done this in the same row. And then he started taking them back through the exercise. And she said, Dad, I know all of these. And he said, there's no way you know all of these. This is a new deck. And she said, okay. So she went through it again. And then finally she said, Dad, this is so boring. And she could tell him every card that was in that flash deck. And that really grabbed his attention. Then he started meditating and for himself, and then he started getting visions and things started happening to him. And one night he woke up and there was these numbers floating in his room. There was 3 numbers above, 3 numbers below. And it freaked him out, and he realized what he was looking at was lottery numbers. And there's a particular way the lottery happened. He was in El Paso, and he would go over the border and get his tickets. He used those numbers and he won. And this freaked him out because he was a very staunch Catholic. And he's like, oh no, this can't be of God, right? And so he started doing little tests. If this is of God, then how would I know? And he started preparing himself to receive answers. He started saying, what are my standards? What does this test have to meet? Right. And so he started developing it, and he started sharing the method, and then he became eventually was teaching classes and became partners with Robert C. Clark, who helped him organize all of his materials. And now it's an international organization. And so that's just a little brief history for those that don't know him. But one of the key pieces that he teaches in teaching people how to go through the different levels of his mind, he talks about going into alpha, theta, going into these different levels of consciousness, kind of counting down. And part of what he would do is have you imagine that you're in a laboratory, one very much like this one. And in this laboratory, this is your workspace for anything that you want to create or manifest. Okay. And there was someone who helped you and worked with you in your laboratory. And at any point, if you needed to solve a problem or if you needed a tool or resource, you could go to a drawer. You had your guide who could show up as anything. One person had Marilyn Monroe and Albert Einstein show up as their guys. When from me, it was this old Jewish doctor from New York from like the late 1800s, and he had his little bowler hat, and he just was a friendly presence. And so this is that first place that we're taken into, and here it's just this idea of we're going to set aside some time. There's a place in our mind that we go to. Whatever we need is already there, and whatever help we need is already there, and we have a reliable person to talk to. Well, all of that's true without imagining laboratories and spirit guides or going on deep hypnosis trips of going up and down stairs and walking across fields and getting in boats and doing all the things we do in hypnotherapy. It's already within you. It's just preparing your mind to receive. Now, what will stop us, and it is important to have the right environment externally and internally for your intuition. And we have this idea, I can't think here, I can't function here, I've got to do all these things in order to get the right answer. And the truth is, you have to be open. You have to be available to the right answer. Okay? Be open and available. And that's the best way to prepare your mind. My favorite place, when I really want to do clearing, I get in my car, and I have had amazing experiences and revelation happen in my car. Why? Because when we're driving, this little thing called highway hypnosis, and you're driving and you're doing the familiar things, your brainwave starts naturally going into theta, and you only have to address anything that if it directly affects you, right? So you get in the car, and sometimes you wonder, hey, I remember getting in the car, I turned left at the light, and I don't remember how I got here. Or suddenly you kind of wake up and you're pulling into the driveway of the new place. You're in a reverie, you're in that hypnagogic state. That's probably one of my favorite ways to be. And of course, there's any danger, you're going to be awake and alert and deal with it. But you can create this. You really need to just commit to that preparing your mind to receive. And it's hard to prepare your mind to receive if you're under pressure, you're pushing yourself that you've got to know, or you're afraid of the answer, because if the answer shows up, you won't be able to deal with it, right? And you can't really get an answer and say, I'm going to block away everything that's not the answer that I want. You got to look at it as just information. Okay. So, what we're going to do today is focusing on preparing our mind with the one command so that we can calm ourselves and be open and curious about what comes up. Okay. Now, here is the next part. If you are in a fixed or a victim mindset, this can block you getting the clear information about your situation. Because very often, as an intuitive person, a lot of people assume about intuition and what we get in our guidance, that it's this unchanging thing. Right? It can't be averted. Well, let me think about a better way to say this, because there are some inevitable changes that need to happen. Okay. But what we can shift is like an earthquake, or if there's a tsunami or something like that, if there's something happening in the waves. But what we can really definitely affect is how it affects us, our ability to cope with it. But I really do believe that we have the power to shift consciousness. And I happen to be one of those people that I believe in different timelines and different, parallel universes. So I'm not afraid of whatever my intuition shows me, which is the main point. Two, if in my intuition, and this is the main thing I want to say, if I'm seeing a certain situation, let's see that when I was thinking about work and I was afraid of being fired. Okay. Oh no, I think I'm going to get fired. My intuition going, this is happening. There's a big change. And I would tune in, it's like, am I happy about that change or not? Like, yeah, okay, this is good. I don't know what's happening next, but I feel prepared and I can accept it because I don't like this situation. Right. Or if I go, no, there's a way to change this. That's that other voice inside going, there's a way to shift this because of my desire. I'm not operating from fear. I'm operating from what I want. Does that make sense? And so I would tune in and go, what's happening in this situation that seems to be that they would make this decision? Is there something I did, or is there something that they know about that I don't know about? Right? Has there been another conversation? And so I'm bringing myself into a neutral place of observing and curiosity. And no matter what it is that we're addressing, that's the space that we have to be in. We have to be prepared. We got to prepare ourselves to be open and curious, right? And to meet it. And then I might do some mental rehearsal and going, well, I see this kind of conversation is happening. And it's like, and I don't know if you've ever had anybody at work come against you and start talking to the boss about you. Yeah, I've had that too. And going, well, I don't know how all of this works out for my good. I only know it does now. And I don't know how my boss listens to me. And then I would, in my mind's eye, visualize having a new conversation with my boss. Then I might tune in. Did that change anything? What's happening and what I'm seeing and feeling? I'm not trying to change or manipulate the boss. I'm not trying to control factors outside of myself. I'm tuning into me and my resources. What do I need to know here? What's next here? Right? So we've got to be prepared, open, and ready. And we've got to be flexible. We can use that information in our intuition for receiving and sending out information. We process information a lot of different ways, and we need to understand how we're getting our information and what meaning we assign to it. And this is why understanding about levels of consciousness is so important, because if you're in a lower vibration, like a fixed mindset or a victim mindset, you're going to feel like there's these forces outside of you that you have no control over, and that you're going to ultimately be hurt, right? And the truth is, with the shift of your consciousness, and by raising your consciousness, you're going to be able to address whatever happens in your life. You're going to have a whole new approach if you're operating from a fearful mindset, shame-based mindset versus a empowering love mindset, right? Because no weapon formed against you shall prosper. All things are working together for your good. And so even if you get something unexpected, you're going to be able to keep moving forward and know that you not only going to have trust in other people, because that doesn't matter. What's going to matter is that you know that you can have trust in yourself, and confidence is going to come from you knowing that you're okay. This has to start with having a new conversation with ourselves from a different level of consciousness. Okay. And so I feel like I've talked a lot about this. I want to just take you through an experience. But good morning, Mr. David. Good morning, Jody. Who all's here? I put into the comments what we're talking about. It all wound up being all jammed in. I had it very nicely organized, and then all kind of jumped in there. But this week, we're Monday through Friday, we're talking about intuition. Today's about the prepared mind. Tomorrow's the universe speaks. And then finally, how we're going to tie all this together for manifesting your good. Okay? All right. So I'm going to come back to this. Intuition does not come to an unprepared mind. Just take a breath. So, what would our command be? I don't know how my mind is prepared. I only know my mind is prepared now and I am fulfilled. I don't know how I am prepared to learn about my intuition. I don't know how I'm prepared to have a new understanding about my intuition and how it serves me. I don't know how I remember all the ways that my intuition prepared me for changes in my life. I only know my mind is open and ready to serve now, and I am fulfilled. Just breathe into that. We haven't even gone up to Theta yet, but do you notice how I'm doing this? And this is what I'm modeling for you. We had a question. We saw this thing. Okay, you have to have a prepared mind. Then I started just commanding, and that's kind of what I would call a riff, where whatever comes up, whatever thought comes up, you meet it immediately with the one command. Okay? And it doesn't have to be big or complicated or even perfect. But what we're doing is we're redirecting our mind to a greater solution. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and we're going to keep going. Take a deep breath and feel your connection to the earth and the earth's connection to you. And in that space, in that connection, let's just release any tension, confusion, anxiety. If you've got any aches or pains in your body, that's that built up lactic acid. Just let that go. Just let that release right out of your joints, right down into the earth. Becoming aware of your connection to the earth and the earth's connection to you. And now I just want to invite you to become aware of that creative life force energy emanating from the earth, rising up through your body, coming up through your feet, into your knees, into your hips, up your spine, into your shoulders, down your arms, right into your fingertips, right into your neck and shoulders, all the way to the top of your head. Bringing your attention to your heart as you align to your purpose. And I just want to invite you, as you tune in to the love in your heart, in your own inner guide. I don't know how. I meet my inner guide with an open heart and an open mind. I only know that there's only love between us now, and I am fulfilled. I don't know how. I trust my intuition. I don't know how to trust my inner knowing and can trust myself to use it wisely. I only know my inner guidance and I are one now, and I am fulfilled. Just let that go. Let that expand out. Are you noticing we're doing the one command right into the body and how the body's responding? Well, your heart has its own intelligence. I just want to give this space for a moment and just invite you to become aware of this expanded space within you. And as you become aware of this expanded space within you, this greater awareness within you, notice what already starts to release, unwind, let go. And just let that love in your heart do its work. Whatever comes up, if there's a feeling or a thought, just notice it, be aware of it, and let love do the work. No labels, no stories, just simply be aware. Now, with your eyes closed, lift your chin up slightly and roll your eyes up and picture, visualize, or imagine that you are traveling up a pole of light. And the higher you go, the faster you go, and soon you find yourself surrounded by the beautiful, velvety, black void of space. And instantly you break through the darkness into the light of pure, open potential. Eyes up. We're going to state our first command, and then I'm going to make space for your own command around being prepared. I don't know how I have a prepared mind. I only know I am open and ready for whatever my intuitive guidance shows me. And I'm ready to take appropriate action at the right time. I only know it's so now, and I am fulfilled. And we're just going to let that go. Now I'm going to make a command that you can fill in your own space. And there may be something that you need to get an intuitive answer on. Okay. So I don't know how. My intuition shows me, and state the one command. I only know that I know now, and I am fulfilled. Interesting, right? I don't know how. My intuition shows me what I need to know about, and then state the situation. I only know that I know now, and I am fulfilled. Just let that go. Let that expand out. Yeah, the group consciousness is like, just let's make some space here. Let's just take this moment. Now just allow your consciousness to expand into an idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. And now we're just going to start receiving in gratitude. And this is active receiving. And just assume that you are receiving the answer now. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as it comes in, it's going to unwind everything that was holding you at the lower level of consciousness, that was holding you in fear and doubt and no faith and all the judgment that you had about yourself. Just let it unwind. And anything that might have hooked itself into your subconscious mind without you being aware of it, just let that go too. Everything that you were told and taught about your intuition and your own knowing, just let that go. And now we're just going to allow this greater state of being, this greater understanding, these new ideas to start to rewind and integrate all the way through you. And then just bring your attention to your heart about your situation that you wanted your intuition for, or what you may think or feel about your intuition and how it's serving you. And then I just want to ask a question in this space. How can you be prepared for your answer when it arrives? How can you be prepared to know when you know? We always say keep a journal of your commands. And then this is perfect because we always say this, but it's true. The 7th step is inspired action. Well, that's that action that comes at your intuition said, yes, let's do this. Let's go left instead of right. Don't do that today. Let's do this instead. But be ready for that idea or that inspiration or opportunity, and you just go for it. Okay? All right. My friends, I want to put together a special training for people who want to access their intuition and apply it to their business careers. This is a specific thing, and in my mind's eye, my vision for this is I want it to be about a 6 to 9 week course, and where we're going to go through deeply and unwind some of the beliefs that keep us from accessing our internal wisdom and learn ways to use our intuition so that we can apply it to our business success or our careers, whatever it is, whatever industry that we have. But I would have to say that my intuition has been my greatest guide through all of this. I just have to end with one quick story. There was one building that me and a friend used to drive by, and we were starting a new business. And she kept saying, well, I think we ought to go over there and visit that business and let them know what we do. And I said, I don't get that hit at all. If you want to do it, you just go right ahead. Because part was happening was she was kind of pushing me to do things. Right. And I just said, no, if you're getting that message, follow the message. So she got up the next day, she got dressed, and she headed straight there without an appointment. Walked in, said, this is who I am. And at the time we were selling gift baskets. And they said, oh, you want to talk to the office manager? They directed her to the office manager, who was sitting there with another woman. And they said, what do you do? And my friend introduced herself. This is what I do. Here's our company. And they said, we can't believe you're here right now because we're literally talking about the Christmas gifts for our employees. That's how it works. That's exactly how it works. And so what stops us from acting on that is our fear and our conditioning and looking foolish or making mistakes. But your intuition is already guiding you. You've got resistance that's stopping you from obeying it. And what I want to do in this course, and if you're interested, I don't have a sales page for it, but if this is something that would be of interest to you, please message me directly, and we'll talk about it, because I want to start this actually within the next probably 3 weeks. So all you got to do is send me an instant message, and if this sounds something that would be of interest to you, let's talk about it. Okay, my friend. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Until next time, this is Catherine Perry, the Big Vision Coach and Witness Your Mastery. Bye bye, everybody.